Hello my friends, day number 2, more coloring. Today we're going to be still using our fluffiest friends, only this time we're using this nice little chubby bear and our tuxedo black. And I've got a piece that I've cut down to 3x4 and this is going to go on the front of my card, but I'm going to make my coloring first to make sure that I get what I want. I have my scrap of paper in the background to help with the bleed. Remember we talked about Stampin' blends bleed, say that 3 times fast, through your basic white cardstock. So my bear's going to go here, and then I'm going to add these sweet little honeybees. I just want to make sure I go the right way with them. Kind of buzzing around him. Right? Maybe one more. Now, I have technically a boo-boo here, and I want to show you what it is. Let's look closely. See these 2 lines here? Those are called ghosts. And it is because when let me push this in here so you can see it up close. Can you see the edge of the stamp right on the very edge? When I push down on the stamp pad, I pushed a little too hard and I got ink on the edge of the stamp. So then when I was trying to stamp, again, I pushed a little too hard, and part of the problem is because this is a teeny tiny little stamp, right? All right, so because I could just say, well, you know, it's homemade and I did it and it's not manufactured, but I'm probably going to be up tonight worrying about it. You know, we don't want that. So because I recommend that you stamp and color before you put it together on your card, all I have to do now is grab myself another piece of cardstock and go ahead and do it again. And then I don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to grab another piece of basic white. I'm going to stamp Mr. Bear. And I love that if there's something that you don't like, you just do it again. And I'm going to stamp Mr. Bear. And I do need kind of some good pressure with him because he's a big stamp. These guys are little, so I don't need such a heavy hand. So a little gentle, just some tapping. Make sure my ink's where I want it, and just a gentle hand, right? No ghost. Don't get carried away. So it's super simple to fix, and it's really not a big deal, and I could have just lived with it. Truthfully, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. I could have added a little bit of bling here and there, but those things would make me crazy, and I'd rather they weren't there. So I'm just going to not have them. All right, now on to coloring, which is why we're here. But sometimes I can share some other things with you. I do not have any brown for this bear. So this bear is going to get some Calypso Coral mixed with a little bit of light gray granite. I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm going to give it a try. And bears can be any color that I want. Because I don't know what it's going to look like, I'm going to take my mistake. It might come in handy. And I am just going to see what the color's going to be great. I like the color. It's not really orangey. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the light gray granite, which I dropped on the floor. A little bit of the light gray granite. And if you notice, I am using the brush end, but see how you can literally blend 2 colors together and get a different color? I'm thinking though, I kind of like Mr. Bear just the way he is in the Calypso Coral, but I don't hate that blend, but we're not gonna. Mr. Bear is gonna be Calypso Coral. I'm gonna start with my light as we did the other day. Now this is a bigger space than our little bunny, right? So I am going to do this a little slower. I'm using my tip because I like that better. And again, remember I said we start with the highlights that the artist did, where the artist showed us the color is to be. And then I'm going to come back in with my dark. And then I'm going to go over the whole bear with a light. So I'm going to come back in with my dark and put my highlights in. You can see it is a lot darker. And it's okay if I go down here, because this is going to be kind of under his little chins. He's kind of a chubby bear. Okay. Now, because I kind of want to blend in his whole body, his whole head, I'm going to go with the brush, the thicker end. It's the same color, but it lets me color a bigger space. So I'm going to go ahead and just go over my whole bear. And right now it is looking kind of blotchy. But if you watch, it's going to blend in and it's going to be okay. So there's Mr. Bear. I'm going to keep going now. Down here, remember this is a lighter color. Whoops. Well, all right, Mr. Bear, might as well do your nose now. I was going to do you a little bit lighter, but we'll mix something else in with you. And we're going to color him in down here. Now the dark over on these edges, that's going to get some dark calypso. But see, he's a bigger space. So you kind of have to go a little bit quicker with him, because you want to try and keep the color blending while it's a little damp. I don't want to color in the honey pot. Just want Mr. Bear. And I can always come back and do detail later. Fill this in. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, he's good. Now let's get my dark one. And then I'm going to come back with my light, and I'm going to take the dark one and just flick it a little bit to the center. So I'm kind of blending that dark a little bit more, and a little bit this way with kind of a flicking motion. I'm using the wider part of the blend, and you can see it start to literally blend the colors, right? As it dries, it will do even better. So in the meantime, I'm not going to fret about it and think, oh, well, what about this? No, let it go. Let it dry. Come back in with your dark. And when you're going back and forth like this, you can kind of leave your markers open. Because you're coming right back. You'll notice it is drying, and it's going to look better as it dries. Okay, now my bees need some attention while I let this one dry. Oh, barefoot. Barefoot, barefoot. Let's do light on him. And then we're going to bring our dark in. So the reason I'm using the broader tip than I did yesterday, if you looked at the video from yesterday, is because this is a bigger space that I'm coloring. And the broader tip lets me cover more area a little more quickly. The little tip lets you have more detail. The other thing, remember we talked about this yesterday, try and remember to put your caps back on when you're doing it, because it's not a big deal now, but it could be confusing later. I am using lemon. This is darker lemon lolly, and this is lighter lemon lolly. So I'm going to start with the light, and these are tiny little bees, so I'm going to use the little end. And I'm going to do their wings and their body, and I'm going to come back with a dark for that line on their body. And it's super tiny, so you just have to kind of, you're really just dabbing color. You're not going to get a whole lot of shading going on this tiny little bee. But we're just going to highlight some color, and then you can do the same with your dark and just do that line. It's really not going to show all that different. But, you know, we want the detail in there if anybody looks super close. And then we're going to bring this and do our honey that's dripping out of the honey pot. There's our light one and our dark one. Okay. And I noticed I missed a paw. There's just like a touch of a paw on this side of the honey pot. There. And now I need to color the honey pot. Let's go with some, we'll open another color because why not? They're fun. Again, they come in a pack of 2. This is light peacock and dark peacock. And that's what my honey pot's going to be out of. This is light, this is dark. And I'm going to go with a little, it's kind of a medium size, but I'm going to go with a little one. And this is light. I like to start with the light and then add the dark. I will tell you there's probably an equal number of people that use these that start with the dark first and then come back. So it's truly what works for you. And this is kind of a medium space. I could use the brush on this if I needed to. I'm okay with the smaller tip. But there could be an argument for both. And I'm going to go with the dark one now and add the highlights into it, or kind of the darkening of it. Shadows, actually. And then one more quick flick to do some blending between the two. And I'm going to use the brush and just do some quick flicking with the lighter one. I know it doesn't look that light, but it is. To blend that in, all right? Now we're going to let this little baby dry. And then the other thing, I talked about this yesterday, but I couldn't find it, is my Wink of Stella. Wink of Stella is this sweet little brush of glimmer. Ever so faint, not overpowering. This little bunny has wink on it. I don't know if you can see the shimmer when you twilt it. You twilt it and twink it. You tilt it. This little bunny does not. So I don't know. In person you can see it. I don't know if it's showing on camera. So I'm going to take the Wink of Stella. It doesn't do anything to your color. So I'm not going to do the whole bear. I'm going to do the honey because I might want that to glimmer a little. And then I'm literally going to do my bees because I want them to be highlighted. So I'm just going to go over my bees, and then I'm going to do my bear's nose. Just a little bit. It's really subtle. It's not like screaming glitzy glimmer. It's just a little shimmer. I'm going to do his nose too. It's going to highlight his nose a little. Yeah, that looks good. Maybe this. Maybe his foot pad too. And then I'm good to go, and I'm going to let this dry. And then we're going to put it together on the front of a card. So let's bring you in super close so you can see Mr. Bear up close. There. See how the colors have blended as we let it go? Look at the other side. It really did go right through, and you can see where I was a little heavy-handed in some places and what it did to my scratch paper. That would have looked icky on my desk. And this will dry even more. Right now it's still damp, so I'll come back and take a picture with you later. I'll show it to you later on what it looks like after it's good and dry, but that's what it looks like. You can pull out your heat gun, you know, and just dry it really fast if you need it, but truly it does well just letting it dry. All right, more coloring tomorrow. See you soon. Bye.